Tonight, we are not rushing through history. There is nothing to learn quickly and nothing to remember. Tonight, we are simply resting inside the past, moving slowly, one quiet moment at a time. It is night in medieval Europe. The day has ended in the most ordinary way possible, without a final announcement, without a dramatic closing scene, only a gradual fading of motion and the gentle return of quiet. A small town rests behind a low wall of stone. The wall is not tall enough to impress anyone, and not strong enough to stop every worry in the world, but it does what it can. In the night, it holds the town together like a calm thought held in the mind. The streets are narrow and the ground is uneven. Some parts are stone, some parts are packed earth. In a few places, the surface is worn smooth by countless footsteps, and in other places it is rough, dotted with small stones that catch the light in tiny, unimportant ways. You walk slowly, with no destination and no reason to hurry. The buildings lean in toward the street as if they are listening to the night. Their timber frames are dark, their plaster walls pale, their shutters closed. On the upper floors, small windows sit like quiet eyes, mostly unlit now. During the day, these windows watch the world. At night, they rest. A faint candle burns somewhere inside one house. It does not shine brightly, it simply exists, and the thin light rests in one corner of the room, making soft shadows on the wall. The rest of the room remains in darkness, comfortable and unchanged. In the street, the air is cool. It smells of old wood and damp stone, of ashes from cooking fires, and of the day's bread that has already been eaten. The scent of smoke lingers lightly, not harsh, just familiar, like a memory that does not demand attention. As you continue walking, you pass a closed shop. Its wooden door is barred from the inside. Its sign hangs still above the entrance, no longer swinging. The shop will open again when the day returns, but for now it has no purpose. It rests like everything else, with no questions asked of it. Farther down the street, you see a small lantern near a doorway. The flame is low, protected from the wind. It gives off a warm, calm glow that does not travel far. It is not meant to light the whole town. It is only meant to be enough. In medieval life, enough is an important word. Enough light to see the threshold, enough warmth to sleep, enough food to carry the body into morning, enough quiet to let the mind loosen its grip on the day. You pass a narrow alleyway, darker than the street, cooler, with stone walls that hold the night air like a stored secret. There is no reason to go down the alley. You simply notice it and keep walking. Somewhere behind a shuttered window, someone turns in their sleep. The sound is faint, the soft shift of cloth, the tiny creak of a wooden frame, and then it is gone. The house returns to stillness as if the sound never happened. The town is mostly silent now. Not perfectly silent. Medieval nights are never perfectly silent. A dog breathes quietly near a doorway, curled in a small shape that suggests comfort rather than guarding. A cart rests against a wall, its wheels still, its wooden boards dark. A bucket sits beside a well, waiting. It does not matter that it is waiting. It waits anyway. You reach a small open space where the road widens slightly. During the day, this might be a place for a small market. People might stand here and speak in ordinary voices, exchanging ordinary things: eggs, cloth, beans, salt. But in the night, it is only an open patch of ground, and the moon rests above it without interest. The moonlight is thin and pale. It does not turn the world bright. It only softens edges, making everything less sharp, less demanding. At the side of the open space stands a simple stone fountain, or sometimes just a basin where water collects. The water is still. If there is movement, it is slow, almost invisible. The surface catches a faint reflection of the sky, and the reflection does not need to be understood. You stand there for a moment. You do not need to do anything. You do not need to decide anything. You can simply stand and let the quiet be present. A gentle breeze passes. It moves across the open space, then slips between the buildings again. It does not carry excitement. It carries only the coolness of night and the calm certainty that time continues at its own pace. You continue walking. The town remains the same. The houses remain closed. The streets remain empty. The night holds everything with steady hands. And as you move through this ordinary medieval night, the world feels simpler, less urgent, less loud, like a long breath slowly released. Nothing here is rushing. Everything is resting.
The night continues without any sense of urgency. The open space behind you fades quietly from your attention as you walk onward, back into narrower streets where the buildings lean closer together. The timber beams above form dark shapes against the sky, crossing one another slowly, as if time itself has paused between them. The road beneath your feet feels familiar now, not because you have walked this exact path before, but because it feels like every quiet road ever walked at night. The stones are cool and steady. They do not shift. They do not surprise you. They simply exist beneath each step, offering support without comment. Along one wall, bundles of firewood are stacked neatly. During the day, someone carried them here piece by piece without thinking much about it. Tonight, they wait in silence, already useful, already finished with their task. The wood smells faintly of earth and smoke, a gentle reminder of warmth that has already been used and warmth that will come again. A narrow door appears on your left. It is lower than you expect, and its frame is worn smooth where countless hands have pushed it open over the years. Tonight, it is firmly closed. Inside, a family sleeps together in a single room. Their breathing is slow and steady, rising and falling in a quiet rhythm that blends easily with the night. In medieval Europe, homes are not large. Space is shared. Warmth is shared. Silence is shared, too. A small bench rests against the wall nearby. It is rough and uneven, made from thick planks of wood that have softened with age. You imagine someone sitting there earlier in the evening, perhaps tying a shoe, perhaps simply resting after a long day. Now the bench sits empty, content to do nothing at all. The street bends gently to the right. As you follow it, the air grows slightly cooler. The breeze moves more freely here, passing through a gap between buildings and carrying with it the faint scent of damp soil and night grass from beyond the town walls. It is a clean smell, quiet and grounding. Somewhere above you, a shutter taps softly once, then settles again. The sound is brief and unimportant. It does not echo. It does not linger. The night absorbs it easily. Farther ahead, you notice a small chapel. It is not grand. Its stone walls are simple, its doorway plain. The door is closed, and no light shines from within. During the day, people might enter to sit quietly, to pray, or simply to rest their thoughts. At night, the chapel rests like everything else, its purpose fulfilled simply by being present. A carved symbol above the door catches a faint trace of moonlight. The carving is worn, softened by weather and time. Whatever sharp details it once had have faded. What remains is gentle and familiar. You do not stop. You do not need to. The road continues, and you continue with it. As you walk, you become aware of how little sound there is. Not the absence of sound, but the absence of unnecessary sound. There is no shouting, no calling, no rushing footsteps. The town has released all of that for the night. A cat moves quietly along the edge of a wall, its shape blending into the shadows. It pauses, then continues on its way, uninterested in being noticed. Its presence is brief, calm, and soon forgotten. The sky above remains steady. The stars do not shift. They do not flicker dramatically. They rest in their places, distant and unconcerned. Medieval people have looked up at this same sky for generations, finding comfort in its reliability. You pass another small courtyard. This one is narrower, enclosed by high walls from all sides. The ground is uneven stone, and in one corner sits a wooden barrel, its lid slightly askew. Rainwater once collected here. Tonight, the barrel is dry, and the courtyard holds nothing but shadow and stillness. The moonlight reaches only part of the space, leaving the rest in darkness. The contrast feels soft, not sharp. Nothing hides here, nothing waits. You stand at the edge of the courtyard for a moment, then move on. The town feels settled now, as if every object has found the place where it belongs for the night. Doors are closed, tools are put away, animals are resting. People sleep without knowing the exact hour, guided only by the slow turning of night. As you walk, your thoughts grow quieter. There is nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to prepare for, nothing you need to remember tomorrow. The night holds all of that gently, without asking anything in return. Ahead, the street widens slightly, leading towards a small gate in the town wall. The gate is shut, its wooden beams thick and heavy. It will open again in the morning, when light returns and movement follows. For now, it stands still, doing its job simply by remaining closed. Near the gate, a lantern burns low. The flame is smaller than before, protected from the wind by glass that has become cloudy over time. The light it casts is warm, but faint, barely reaching the ground. It does not try to push back the darkness.
it only softens it. A guard might have passed through here earlier, or perhaps no one has been here for hours. It does not matter. The lantern burns anyway, steady and patient. You slow your pace even more. The night feels deeper now, but not heavier. It feels like the middle of a long rest, where nothing is expected and nothing is missing. Time stretches gently, without pulling forward or back. Behind you, the town remains quiet. Ahead of you, the road remains calm. Around you, medieval Europe rests in one of its most ordinary moments, unrecorded, unnoticed, and perfectly complete. You continue walking, slowly and easily, carried by the same quiet that has carried countless others before you. And the night continues with you.
The night deepens, but nothing changes suddenly. The lantern near the gate fades slowly from view as you turn back into the town, following another narrow street that curves gently between the buildings. Here, the air feels more still, as if the stone walls are holding it carefully in place. The ground beneath your feet is smoother in this part of town. Fewer carts pass here during the day. Fewer people hurry through. The stones have been shaped by time rather than traffic, worn down gradually, patiently. A low wall runs along one side of the street. It is built from uneven stones, fitted together without decoration. You brush your hand lightly along its surface as you walk. The stone is cool, firm, and familiar. It has been here through countless nights like this one, and it will remain long after this night fades into memory. Above you, wooden beams stretch from building to building. Some of them support upper rooms. Others hold small balconies where cloth is sometimes hung during the day. At night, the balconies are empty, their railings casting thin shadows on the walls below. A faint sound reaches you, soft and distant. It is not a voice, it is not a call. It is simply the sound of someone breathing through an open window. The sound rises gently, then falls again, slow and even. It blends into the night without effort. You pass beneath the window without looking up, allowing the sound to fade naturally behind you. Medieval nights are full of these quiet details. They do not ask to be noticed. They simply exist, layered gently on top of one another. The street narrows further. Here, the buildings almost touch overhead, leaving only a thin strip of sky visible. The stars appear closer in this narrow space, framed by dark wood and pale stone. The moonlight filters down softly, touching the ground in narrow bands. You walk through the light and shadow without thinking about it. A small pile of straw rests against a doorway. Earlier, it served as bedding for an animal or padding for a cart. Now it waits quietly, its work finished for the night. A faint earthy scent rises from it, blending with the cool air. Nearby, a wooden bucket sits upside down, placed carefully to keep it dry. Its handle rests at an angle, casting a simple shadow on the ground. Nothing about it is remarkable, and yet it feels exactly right in this quiet moment. Farther along, the street opens slightly. You come upon another small square, smaller than the last and more enclosed. The buildings around it are simple and worn. Their walls bear the time of time, patched plaster, uneven stone, faded paint. The square does not feel important. It feels lived in. A well stands near the center. Its stone rim is smooth, polished by generations of hands. At night, the well reflects very little. The darkness inside it feels deep, but not unsettling. It has always been there, holding water patiently, waiting to be needed again. You pause near the well. There is no reason for the pause. It happens naturally, as if your body understands the pace of the night better than your thoughts ever could. A faint breeze passes through the square, barely strong enough to move anything. It touches your face lightly, then slips away between the buildings again. The air feels clean and cool, untouched by the heat of the day. Somewhere nearby, a piece of cloth moves gently, perhaps a curtain, perhaps a loose garment left hanging. The movement is small and unimportant, and it stops as quietly as it began. You continue walking. As you leave the square, the sounds fade once more. The street ahead feels even quieter, as if you are moving deeper into the heart of rest. The buildings here are lower. The homes are simpler. These are places of ordinary life, of waking, working, eating, and sleeping without ceremony. Inside one home, a family sleeps close together. You cannot see them clearly. The door is shut, the shutters closed, but you can sense the presence of warmth inside. Shared blankets, shared breaths, the quiet comfort of bodies resting side by side against the cool night air. In medieval Europe, nights are not always easy, but in moments like this, they are gentle. You pass another doorway where a candle has burned down to a small pool of wax. The wick glows faintly, then dims. Soon it will go out entirely. The room will fall into darkness, and nothing will be lost. The street curves again, guiding you onward without instruction. Your pace remains slow. Your breathing remains steady. The night asks nothing more of you. Above, the sky feels unchanged. The stars remain distant and calm. They do not signal the passage of hours. They simply remain, offering quiet reassurance through their stillness. You feel the sense of time stretching gently, no longer measured in minutes or hours, but in footsteps, breaths, and moments of quiet awareness. Somewhere deeper in the town, a door creaks softly as it settles. The sound echoes once, faintly, and then disappears. The silence closes around it without disturbance. You continue walking. The night continues resting, and medieval Europe remains exactly where it is, calm, ordinary, and untroubled, holding the world together one quiet moment at a time.
The night settles even more deeply now, as if it has found the exact level of quiet it was searching for. You continue walking, though the movement feels almost optional. Each step happens without effort, guided more by habit than intention. The street beneath you is narrow again,
and the buildings on either side seem older here, their surfaces rougher, their shapes less uniform. Some walls lean slightly inward, others bow outward. None of them are straight. Time has shaped them gently, without urgency, allowing each stone and beam to rest where it naturally fell. A small wooden ladder is propped against one wall. During the day, it might be used to reach an upper window or repair a shutter. At night, it stands unused, its rungs casting thin shadows that barely touch the ground. You pass beneath a low archway. The stone above you is darkened by age and smoke. The arch has carried countless footsteps beneath it, some hurried, some heavy, some slow like yours. Tonight it carries only silence. Beyond the arch, the street feels quieter still. The air here is cooler, and the breeze moves less freely. It feels as though the night has paused in this place, holding the moment gently, unwilling to disturb it. On the ground, a few scattered leaves rest where they fell earlier in the evening. They do not move. There is no wind strong enough to shift them now. They have settled into their positions, content to remain exactly where they are. A faint sound reaches you again. This time it is the soft clink of metal, perhaps a loose latch touching a door frame, or a hanging tool responding to the night air. The sound is brief, almost imagined, and then it is gone. You do not look for its source. In the distance, you notice the outline of a larger building rising above the smaller homes. Its roofline is broader, its walls thicker. This place once held gatherings, meetings, or shared moments of daily life. Now its doors are closed and its windows dark. The building does not feel empty. It feels finished for the night. You walk past it slowly, feeling the presence of its stone walls beside you. They are cool and steady, holding the memory of the day's warmth deep inside. The stone releases that warmth gradually, without hurry. As you move on, the street opens into another quiet space. This one is long and narrow, more like a widening of the road than a true square. The ground is smoother here, shaped by many feet over many years. The moonlight spreads thinly across it, softening its surface and blurring the edges of shadow. A row of stone benches lines one side. During the day, people sit here to rest, to talk, to wait. At night, the benches sit empty, their purpose complete simply by existing. Their surfaces are cool now, holding the night air like a calm breath. You take a seat for a moment. The stone beneath you feels firm and reliable. It does not shift. It does not surprise you. You rest there quietly, with no need to watch the time pass. From somewhere nearby, the faint sound of water reaches you. It is not loud enough to draw attention. It simply continues, steady, unchanging, patient. Perhaps it comes from a small stream beyond the town wall. Perhaps from a fountain hidden between buildings. It does not matter. The sound blends into the night, becoming part of the background rather than the focus. You stand again and continue walking. The road leads gently downhill now, and your steps feel lighter. The buildings along this stretch are simpler, lower, narrower, more closely packed. These are homes of ordinary people, built for function rather than beauty. Inside, families sleep. You cannot see them, but you can sense the quiet order of rest behind the walls. Blankets lie loosely over bodies. Breathing moves in slow, even rhythms. Dreams come and go without urgency. A small window stands slightly open on one of the upper floors. A curtain moves gently, lifted by the night air, then settles again. The motion is slow and soft, like a sigh. You continue walking beneath it, allowing the moment to pass without holding on to it. The street bends again, guiding you toward the outer edge of the town. Here, the stone walls are thicker, and the ground feels cooler beneath your feet. The air carries a faint scent of grass and earth from beyond the buildings. Somewhere outside the walls, fields stretch quietly under the same moonlit sky. Crops rest, soil cools, the land waits. The town does not try to hold your attention. It allows you to move through it freely, without direction, without demand. Your thoughts feel lighter now, less defined. They drift slowly like clouds passing across the night sky, present but unimportant. There is nothing you need to remember about this walk, nothing you need to carry forward. The night does not ask for memory. It offers only rest. As you continue, the sounds of the town grow even softer. Even the faint movements you noticed earlier have faded. The world feels held in a gentle pause. Medieval Europe rests around you, its streets quiet, its homes settled, its people sleeping through the hours without concern. And you walk on, unhurried, guided by nothing more than the steady calm of the night.
The night feels wider now, as if it has stretched itself gently across the land. You walk farther from the center of the town, where the streets grow quieter and the buildings stand farther apart. Here, the homes are smaller, simpler, built with careful hands and practical minds. Their walls are thick enough to hold warmth, their roofs low enough to keep the night close. The ground beneath your feet changes again. Stone gives way to packed earth in places, smooth from years of use. The surface feels softer, absorbing the sound of your steps until they almost disappear. Walking here feels less like movement and more like drifting. A wooden fence runs along one side of the road. Its posts are uneven, some leaning slightly, others standing firm. The fence does not mark anything important. It simply exists, guiding nothing, protecting little, but remaining where it was placed long ago. A thin layer of dew has begun to form on the wood, catching the faint light and making the surface appear slightly brighter. Beyond the fence, the land opens quietly. Fields stretch outward into darkness, their shapes barely visible. During the day, these fields demand attention, plowing, planting, harvesting. At night, they release all of that. The soil cools, the crops rest,
The land breathes slowly, unbothered by time. You pause near the fence and look out. There is nothing to see clearly, and yet the openness feels comforting. The town behind you rests, and the countryside ahead rests as well. Everything feels balanced, as if the world has found a steady center. A faint sound reaches you from the distance. It is not a voice, it is not a signal. It is the soft movement of night animals, perhaps something small shifting through grass, or the distant call of an owl, barely audible. The sound does not break the silence, it becomes part of it. You turn back toward the town and continue walking. The road curves gently, leading you past a small cluster of homes built close together. These houses share walls, sharing warmth in winter and shade in summer. At night, they share quiet. A narrow doorway stands open just enough to let a thin line of darkness show inside. No light escapes. Whoever lives there has already extinguished their candle, choosing sleep over wakefulness without hesitation. Nearby, a stack of clay jars rests against a wall. Their rounded shapes catch the faint light of the sky. They hold grain, water, oil, simple things that sustain daily life. Tonight, they hold nothing that needs attention. They wait patiently, as they always do. The road grows slightly narrower again, guiding you back toward the inner part of the town. The air here feels warmer, held between walls that have absorbed the day's heat and now release it slowly. You pass beneath another archway. The archway frames the street ahead like a quiet picture, one that does not change as you move closer. Shadows rest along the stone, unmoving and soft. Inside the archway, the sound of your footsteps disappears completely. The space seems to swallow sound, holding it briefly before letting it go. On the other side, the street continues, unchanged. A small wooden cart sits nearby, its handle resting against the ground. One wheel is slightly turned, as if the cart was left in a hurry earlier in the evening. Now the urgency is gone. The cart has nothing to do until morning. A length of rope lies beside it. The rope is thick and worn, its fibers rough from use. It has lifted heavy loads, tied bundles, secured doors. Tonight, it lies still, its work finished. As you walk, you become aware how gently the night carries everything. Nothing is pushed, nothing is pulled. Everything is allowed to remain exactly where it is. You pass another window, this one completely dark. The shutters are closed tightly, blocking out even the faint moonlight. Inside, someone sleeps deeply, untouched by the outside world. Their dreams move slowly, unshaped by noise or interruption. A faint breeze returns, brushing lightly against your face. It carries the smell of damp earth and old wood, a scent that feels ancient and familiar. The breeze moves on without lingering, leaving the air still once more. The street begins to slope upward. You climb slowly, feeling the gentle effort in your legs, though even this effort feels softened by the night. At the top of the slope, the town opens slightly, revealing rooftops layered against the sky. From here, you can see how quiet everything has become. No lights move, no shadows shift, no voices rise. The town feels suspended, held between yesterday and tomorrow. You stand there for a moment, letting the view settle. There is no sense of waiting for something to happen. The night does not promise change. It offers only continuation. As you turn and walk on, your steps slow even further. The rhythm of walking feels steady and soothing, like the gentle repetition of breath. Medieval Europe rests in this unremarkable, perfect moment. Not remembered, not recorded, not hurried, just quiet.
The night begins to feel very deep now, not because it has grown darker, but because everything has settled into its place. You continue walking, though the town around you seems content, even if you were to stop. The streets no longer feel like paths leading somewhere. They feel like gentle lines drawn across the quiet, connecting one resting place to another. Here, the buildings are older. Their wooden beams are thicker, darker, marked by years of weather and smoke. The plaster between them is uneven, patched carefully over time. Nothing looks new, nothing needs to be. Everything carries the calm weight of use. A narrow gutter runs along the edge of the road. Earlier in the day, water passed through it, carrying small bits of dust and straw away. Now it is dry, its stones cool and still. A few drops of moisture cling to the edges, catching the faintest trace of light. You step carefully around it without thinking. Above you, the sky feels lower somehow, as if the night has drawn closer to the town. Clouds drift slowly across the stars, softening their light. The moon is still there, but its presence feels quieter now, less distinct. You pass a low doorway where a wooden bar rests across the inside. The door is thick, built to keep warmth in and noise out. Behind it, a household sleeps through the deepest hours of the night. The room is dark. The fire has burned down to ash. Only the quiet rhythm of breathing fills the space. In medieval Europe, nights are long. People sleep when they can, waking briefly, then returning to rest without concern for the hour. Time is not measured carefully here. It is felt instead, through tiredness, through hunger, through light and darkness. You walk on. The street leads you toward a small bridge. It arches gently over a narrow stream that runs through the town, guiding water away toward the fields beyond. The water moves quietly, its surface smooth and dark. The sound it makes is soft and steady, barely more than a whisper. You pause on the bridge. The stone beneath your feet is cool and firm. You rest your hands on the low wall at the edge and look down at the water. It reflects very little, just faint shapes and muted light. The stream does not rush, it does not slow, it simply continues. For a moment, everything feels perfectly balanced. Behind you, the town rests. Ahead of you, the water flows. Above you, the sky remains calm. Nothing asks to be changed. You cross the bridge slowly and continue on your way. On the other side, the street narrows again, winding gently between homes built close together. The air feels warmer here, held between walls that have stored the day's heat and now release it into the night. A faint shutter creaks softly as it settles. The sound is brief, almost comforting. It reminds you that the buildings are not lifeless. They respond gently to the night, adjusting and settling just as people do in their sleep. A faint glow appears ahead. It comes from a small window where a candle still burns. Inside, someone sits quietly, perhaps finishing a simple task, perhaps just waiting for sleep to arrive. The candle's flame flickers once, then steadies again. You pass without looking in. The moment does not belong to you. It belongs to the night. Farther along, you notice a stack of wood neatly arranged beneath an overhanging roof. The wood is dry, protected from the damp air. Each piece was placed there by hand, without hurry, one after another. Now it waits. Everything seems to wait in this hour. A cart track crosses the street, its shallow grooves worn into the earth. The tracks lead nowhere important. They simply mark where something passed before and will pass again. You follow the street as it curves gently left. Here, the sound of the stream fades, replaced by a deeper stillness. Even the faint night sounds feel distant now, as if they belong to another place. Your breathing slows naturally. There is no effort in it, no instruction. It simply matches the calm around you. You pass another small open space, barely wide enough to be called a square. A stone trough rests against one wall, used for water during the day. Now it holds nothing but shadow. The moonlight touches the edge of the trough, tracing its shape softly. The rest remains dark, unimportant. You stand there for a moment, then move on. The night feels steady now, like a long, gentle pause that will last exactly as long as it needs to. Medieval Europe remains quiet around you, its homes closed, its streets empty, its people resting without concern, and you continue walking slowly and easily, held by the same calm that holds the town itself.
The night feels very still now, as if it has reached its deepest point. You continue walking, though the idea of distance has begun to lose its meaning. The streets no longer feel like places that lead somewhere else. They feel complete on their own, calm and settled, needing no destination. Here, the buildings stand a little farther apart. Small gardens rest behind low stone walls. During the day, these spaces hold vegetables, herbs, and flowers grown for simple use. At night, the plants stand quietly, their leaves dark and still. Dew has begun to form on their surfaces, cool and gentle. You pass one such garden and notice how the soil smells faintly damp and clean. It is the smell of rest, of earth returning to itself after a long day under the sun. A narrow path leads between two homes. You follow it slowly, stepping carefully where the ground dips slightly. The stones here are older, their edges softened almost completely by time. They feel smooth beneath your feet, as if they have accepted every footstep they will ever carry. At the end of the path, the street opens again. This part of town feels quieter than the rest. Fewer people live here. Fewer tasks begin here during the day. The night feels deeper, thicker, but never heavy. A wooden door stands slightly uneven in its frame. It does not quite fit anymore, but it closes well enough. The latch holds. Inside, someone sleeps without noticing the imperfection. The door does not matter now. Nothing needs fixing at this hour.
Nearby, a small pile of tools rests against a wall. A hoe, a basket, a length of rope. Each object was useful earlier. Each will be useful again. Tonight they rest without purpose, content in their stillness. You slow your pace even more. Your steps are nearly silent now. The ground absorbs what little sound remains. The night accepts it easily, leaving nothing behind. Somewhere nearby, an animal shifts quietly. Perhaps a cat turning in its sleep. Perhaps a bird settling more deeply into rest. The sound is so faint that it almost feels imagined. Above you, the sky has changed slightly. The stars are still there, but their light feels softer now, less sharp. The moon hangs lower, its glow spreading thinly across the rooftops and streets. Shadows grow longer, gentler, blending into one another. You reach a place where the street rises gently. At the top, you pause without meaning to. From here, you can see across several rooftops, their shapes overlapping quietly. Chimneys stand dark and still, no smoke rising now. The town appears peaceful, complete, untouched by urgency. This is a moment that would never be written down. No one records it, no one announces it, and yet it exists fully. You stand there, breathing slowly, feeling the quiet settle inside you as much as around you. A faint breeze moves past again, cooler than before. It carries the smell of distant fields and early dew, of grass and soil waiting for morning. The breeze passes through, then fades, leaving the air calm once more. You turn and walk down the other side of the rise. The street here feels narrower, more enclosed. The walls on either side seem to hold the quiet carefully, as if protecting it from disturbance. A small window sits low in one wall. It is closed tightly, the shutters pressed together. Behind it, someone sleeps deeply, unaware of the world outside. Their dreams drift slowly, unshaped by noise or interruption. You continue walking, guided by nothing more than ease. The idea of time feels distant now. There is no sense of how long you have been walking or how long the night will last. There is only the steady presence of now. Another narrow alley appears. This one feels darker than the others, the moonlight barely reaching its center. You glance into it briefly, then pass by. There is nothing waiting there, nothing hidden, just more quiet. As you move on, you notice how the town seems to breathe, not in sound, but in feeling. Walls cool slowly, air settles gently. Everything adjusts without effort. Medieval Europe rests in this simple rhythm, repeated night after night, century after century. You are not alone in this moment. Others have walked streets like this before, at hours like this, feeling the same calm without naming it. They did not think of history. They did not think of memory. They simply walked and then returned home to rest. You continue walking, slower now than before, as if even movement itself is becoming unnecessary. The night remains steady, and the town holds you quietly, without expectation.
The night no longer feels deep or heavy. It feels settled. You continue walking, though the town around you seems almost finished with movement. The streets feel familiar now, not because you recognize them, but because nothing about them asks for attention anymore. The stones beneath your feet reflect a softer light. The moon has lowered slightly, and its glow has thinned, spreading gently instead of shining clearly. Shadows no longer hold sharp edges. They blend into the walls and ground, becoming part of the stillness. You pass another small cluster of homes. These buildings are simple, their shapes modest and worn. They do not rise high, and they do not demand notice. Inside, families sleep through the final quiet hours of night. Their breathing remains slow and even, unchanged by the passing time. A narrow window stands slightly open. Cool air moves inside, lifting a curtain once, then letting it fall again. The movement is unhurried, as if the air itself is careful not to disturb anything. You walk on. The street opens gently toward a wider road. This road once carried carts, animals, and people moving back and forth through the day. Now it rests. The ground feels smoother here, shaped by many years of use. In the distance, the outline of the town wall appears again. It stands quietly, unchanged, its stones pale in the dim light. Beyond it, fields stretch outward into darkness, resting under the same sky. The land feels close now, nearer than before, as if the town and countryside have drawn closer together in the night. A faint sound reaches you. It is the soft rustle of something moving in the grass beyond the wall. The sound is distant and gentle. It does not break the quiet. It joins it. You slow your steps even more. Your breathing feels steady and deep, matching the calm around you. There is no effort in walking now. The movement feels natural, almost automatic. You reach a familiar place, a small square you passed earlier. It looks different now, not because it has changed, but because the night has softened. The stone ground holds a faint glow, reflecting the earliest hint of light in the sky. The space feels open and calm, no longer held tightly by darkness. You stand there quietly. Nothing happens, and that feels right. The benches remain empty. The walls remain still. The air rests gently against your skin. The moment does not move forward or back. It simply exists. Above you, the sky has shifted almost without notice. It is still dark, but the darkness is thinner now. The stars remain, but their light feels more distant. The moon's presence has faded, its work complete. You continue walking, guided by ease rather than direction. The streets feel wider now, as if the night has loosened its hold on them. The air moves more freely between buildings, cool and clean. Somewhere nearby, a bird shifts quietly. It does not sing, it does not call. It simply adjusts its position and becomes still again. The town does not wake. It remains suspended between night and morning, resting in the quiet space where nothing is required. You pass a low wall bordering a small garden. The plants inside are dark shapes against the ground. Dew clings to leaves and stone, cool and fresh. The smell of earth feels stronger now, clearer, as if the land is slowly preparing for the day. You pause briefly, then move on.
The road curves gently, leading you toward another part of town where the homes are closely packed once more. Here, the walls seem to hold warmth, releasing it slowly into the air. A wooden shutter creaks softly. The sound is small and familiar. It settles quickly, leaving the silence untouched. You walk past a doorway where a bundle of cloth rests against the wall. Earlier, it was set aside with intention. Now, it rests without purpose. The fabric holds the night air lightly, unmoving. The sky continues to lighten, almost imperceptibly. It is not morning yet. It is simply no longer deep night. The town feels calm in this transition, as if it has known this moment many times before and feels no need to hurry through it. You continue walking, one slow step at a time. Medieval Europe remains quiet around you, unchanged, untroubled, and patient. The night has begun to release its hold, gently and without disturbance.
The sky above the town has begun to change in a way that is almost too gentle to notice. It is still dark, but the darkness no longer feels complete. A faint, pale tone has begun to settle behind it, softening the edges of rooftops and walls. The night does not end suddenly here. It loosens its grip slowly, carefully, as if it does not wish to disturb anything. You continue walking. The streets feel calmer now, not emptier, but more settled. The stones beneath your feet reflect a slightly lighter shade, cool and smooth. Each step feels steady and familiar, as though the ground itself remembers every foot that has passed before. Buildings stand quietly on either side. Their shapes appear gentler in this light. The sharp contrasts of shadow have faded. Windows remain closed. Doors remain shut. The town still sleeps. Inside the homes, people rest through the final moments of night. Their breathing is slow and even. Blankets lie lightly across bodies. Dreams drift softly without urgency. No one is waiting for a signal to wake. Morning will arrive when it arrives. You pass a narrow street where several homes share a single wall. These houses have grown together over time, built and rebuilt, repaired and adjusted. At night, they share warmth and silence equally. Nothing separates them now. A small opening between two buildings leads to a quiet corner. Here, the air feels cooler, untouched by the warmth stored in stone. Dew has begun to gather on the ground, leaving a faint shine where the light touches it. The smell of damp earth is clear and clean. You pause briefly, then move on. Somewhere in the distance, a faint sound rises. It is not a bell. It is not a voice. It is simply movement, something shifting far beyond the walls. Perhaps an animal stirring, perhaps nothing at all. The sound fades quickly, leaving the quiet untouched. The town does not respond. It remains still, content to rest a little longer. You walk past another familiar place, the well near the smaller square. The stone rim catches the pale light now, appearing softer than before. The darkness inside the well feels less deep. The water remains unseen, quiet and undisturbed. Nearby, a wooden bucket rests where it was left. A thin line of moisture has formed along its edge. The bucket does not mind. It waits without concern. The sky continues to lighten. The stars are still there, but they feel farther away now. Their light is gentle, easily overlooked. The moon has faded into the background, its task complete. You continue walking, guided by the same ease that has carried you through the night. The streets feel wider again. Air moves more freely now, cool and fresh. It carries the scent of grass and soil from beyond the town walls, clearer than before. The land outside feels closer, more present. A narrow gate appears ahead. It is still closed, its wooden beams resting in place. Soon it will open, but not yet. For now it remains part of the quiet. You stand near it for a moment. There is no anticipation here, no waiting. The moment exists fully on its own, without leaning toward what comes next. Behind you, the town remains peaceful. Ahead of you, the road beyond the gate waits patiently. You turn away and continue walking back through the streets. The town feels familiar now, almost comforting. You know its pace, you know its stillness. Nothing surprises you. A small bird shifts quietly on a rooftop. It does not sing, it does not call. It simply adjusts its position and rests again. The sound is barely there. You walk past another row of homes, their shutters still closed tight. The walls feel warmer now, slowly releasing the cool of the night. The stone has begun to change, almost without notice. The sky above grows lighter still. It is not morning yet, but the night is nearly finished. You slow your steps, not because you are tired, but because there is no reason to hurry. The calm has not disappeared. It has only changed its shape. Medieval Europe remains quiet around you, resting through this gentle transition. The night releases the town softly, without signal or sound.
The sky above the town has grown lighter now, though the streets remain quiet. It is not morning yet. It is simply the gentle space between night and day. You continue walking, but the movement feels slower than before, almost unnecessary. The stones beneath your feet hold a pale, muted color now, reflecting the soft change in the sky. Shadows rest lightly against the walls, no longer deep or heavy. The town remains asleep. Windows stay closed, doors stay shut. No voices rise. Inside the homes, people rest through the final moments of darkness. Their breathing is steady and calm. Blankets lie loosely, offering warmth without weight. Dreams drift gently, unshaped by sound or interruption. You pass a familiar street, one you walked earlier in the night. It feels different now, not because it has changed, but because the moment has changed. The air feels cleaner, the scent of dew and cool stone is clearer. The night has loosened its hold, but it has not yet let go. A low wall borders the road. You place your hand against it briefly. The stone feels cool, but no longer cold. It has begun to release the night, just as the sky has begun to release its darkness. Somewhere nearby,
A faint movement stirs. Not a call, not a voice, just the quiet sign that time continues even when nothing else seems to move. You walk on, slower still. The town feels balanced now, resting perfectly between sleep and waking. Nothing rushes forward, nothing pulls back. Everything remains exactly where it needs to be. A small square opens ahead. You step into it and pause. The ground is smooth here, worn by countless feet over countless years. The space holds a faint glow, reflecting the early light. Benches remain empty, walls remain still. The moment feels complete. Above you, the sky has softened into pale tones. The stars have faded almost entirely. The moon rests low, its presence gentle and distant. Morning will arrive soon, but it does not announce itself. You take one last slow look around. The streets, the buildings, the quiet. Nothing asks for attention. Nothing needs to be remembered. The night has done its work. It has carried the town through rest, through stillness, through calm. It has allowed everything to pause, to settle, to remain unchanged for a while. Your walk comes naturally to an end. There is nowhere else to go and nothing else to see. The calm does not disappear. It simply stays behind, resting in the streets, the stones, and the quiet air. Medieval Europe remains peaceful, unaware of being observed, content to move gently into the day. And you are free to rest. If this quiet night in medieval Europe felt peaceful to you, you may share your thoughts softly in the comments. Let me know if you would like to rest in another place in history next time. Perhaps another town, another century, or another quiet night. For now, there is nothing more to do. You can simply rest.